Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Cars with Big Boy Trev. I am Big Boy Trev, and as you can see, we're heading all the way to Paris, France to sample the lion, the symbol of authority. And this particular one is a cab, the 208 hatchback. But first things first, let's check out the highlights of today's show.
This week on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we review the PEUGEOT 208, the stylish compact hatchback dressed in French flair. We analyze its cabin comfort, innovative technologies, engine performance, fuel efficiency, and of course, give its value for money proposition against its rivals, the Volkswagen Polo and the Ford Fiesta. Catch this and much more only on Cars with Big Boy Trev, every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. only on KTN Home.
So you're in the market for a small mini hatchback that will take you from point A to B and of course be able to fit in your lifestyle. Errands, carry people as you're going to church or to the club, or of course be able to carry quite a number of things. So it means practicality is also on top of your list, but you're on a budget. So which particular hatchback would you pick? From Japan, you probably think of the Toyota Vitz or the Mazda Demio or even the Honda Fit. But time to think of some je ne sais quoi. You want something that's stylish, that's unique, that's different, that makes you stand out from the crowd. So today on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we made the effort to find you one of the most unique hatchbacks in the market. Of course, introducing to you the PEUGEOT 208. Now, PEUGEOT, synonymous with Africa. Remember the 504, the lion of Africa, used to roar excessively, and of course it traversed our land. Fast forward to 1985, Michel Mouton, World Rally Champion, again drove the Group B 205 GTI, and of course was a champion in that particular car. Fast forward 2001, Marcus Gronholm, PEUGEOT 206, again silver bullet. It made Subarus look very small, but now it's time for us to move on and now sample the 208, which is the predecessor of all these cars that I've mentioned. Now the 208 was actually built in as far as making sure that people get into the PEUGEOT brand, the young generation. So everything from the styling, from the quality of the materials to the performance were all geared towards the younger millennial generation. So they've done a good job. But first things first, let's check out the design profile of this particular PEUGEOT 208. Now, as you can see, again, stylish vehicle. As you can see, I am telling you, if you compare this with the Japanese rivals, Japanese are a bit conservative and it's their nature, but PEUGEOT, they're daring, they'll go all out, and you can see from the styling queue. Again, massive grille, quadratic as well, and of course to give it the je ne sais quoi, because we're in France, chrome bits as well on it. And of course, as you can see, again, the triangular elongated lights that wrap around the body, again giving this car that je ne sais quoi that you all love. And of course, as you can see, there is a lower bumper, a split grille over here that gives this car an athletic and sporty stance. Everybody loves a sports car, and PEUGEOT have known that many young millennials do love a sporty hatchback. So again, here is the vehicle that they deserve. It is elongated and of course has some creases, and this V now complements this line of Sochaux. Sochaux is the hometown of PEUGEOT, and as you can see, again, the branding, again, make sure that you know that this is our PEUGEOT. Now let's move towards the side, and it reveals a quite interesting silhouette. So what PEUGEOT have done is to merge subtle lines. So as you can see, the A pillar sort of merges all the way with the fender, again creating symmetry, flowing symmetry, the French way of doing things. That je ne sais quoi you keep on talking about, it's here with this PEUGEOT 208. And of course, being French, they do love to go extra on everything. So plenty of chrome around the window sills all the way around. And of course, this side mirror, as you can see here. Look at the doors. Of course, you can see the very subtle creases at the lower third of the vehicle, extending all the way to the rear wheel arch. Again, being a PEUGEOT, again, the roofline, again, it slopes all the way to the back. And of course, as you can see a diffuse spoiler. Again, not too extra, but again, some sophistication. That je ne sais quoi you keep talking about, it's right here in this particular car. And this particular version has the full panoramic moonroof. It's not openable, but it's just, it allows light to get into the vehicle. Again, creating an airy ambience that we're going to find out later on as we step inside this particular vehicle. But as we move to the back, again, the haunch lines, if you look at the back, it looks like a puppy that's squatting, as you can see the back part. So as you can see, the lights as well, they're oval and they're wrapped around, of course, just to give that je ne sais quoi. And the roofline again extends all the way to the back panel, as you can see here. So subtle lines and creases as well with this PEUGEOT badge and emblem over here, just giving this car that je ne sais quoi. Of course, you can see made in France. Now, the bumper is massive as well. It's big, just to give that illusion of butchness. It's a tough vehicle. It's not too thin, not too narrow. So again, it's a big bumper as well, and as you can see, it's color coded with the rear bumper lip. Again, denoting that this is a performance derivative of the Peugeot 208. Well, that is said and done in as far as the walk around is concerned, but how comfortable is the cabin? How practical is it? How safe is it? Does it have the level of technology that you, the millennial, are looking for? Let's step inside and have a look at the cabin of the Peugeot 208. So guys, you've seen from the walk around the je ne sais quoi of this Peugeot 208. In case you're wondering what je ne sais quoi is, sophistication, and that thing that is missing, you can't explain it, but it's there. So we're just trying to confirm whether the je ne sais quoi is also inside of this cabin. So step inside and have a look at the cabin of the Peugeot 208, and I can tell you, again, from the design perspective, the French have gone all out, and I can tell you it's very different from the conservative Japanese brand. So again, as you can see, the use of plastic, it's soft touch on top as well, and of course the dashboard design is the forward cab. So basically that means the dashboard has been placed further away to create an illusion of space between the passenger and the dashboard. So again, illusion of space is so important, especially when you're building a super mini, and it comes with close to 30 years of building super minis, all the way from the 205 to the 208. So I can tell you, plenty of years they've understood how to build super minis, and this one is a prime example of what the French can do in as far as building a small, compact, classy vehicle is all about. Now the highlight of this center console is this 7.5-inch multimedia information display, which basically comprises of the audio system and of course navigation and vehicle dynamics. So when it comes to the audio system, it's all about connectivity. So you can connect your phone and listen to music via Bluetooth. You can actually stream music via USB port, and of course if you're an Apple person and you like the Apple world, you're able to play your music via the iPad or an iPod using the auxiliary port that's supplied to this particular vehicle. Again, you're also able to navigate the streets of Nairobi using the navigation system. It's a little bit rudimentary, but again, it works, and Peugeot are the first to put navigation systems in a European vehicle of this size. So again, Peugeot leading the way in as far as creating technology that works for the young, modern millennial. That is so important. Now, moving right below this particular screen is the vents, and as you can see, the climate controls some certain settings. You do have some toggle settings to control the aircon. Actually, this one is actually dual zone. So basically, the passenger, the driver, can set the temperature and be able to regulate the temperature quite easily as they navigate the streets of Nairobi using this Peugeot 208. Again, making it very important. And as you can see, right below, you have plenty of cubby holes and spaces. Because remember, hatchbacks also have to be practical. So they've used a lot of space, utilized a lot of space, so that you're able to put all your stuff in one position. So actually, as you can see, you have two cup holders, and you can actually use it as a place where you can actually put your cell phone. And of course, you do have a 12-volt socket to charge your devices on the go, and a USB port in case you need to stream music or even charge another device, which is likely possible. Again, you have space here for a coin box, and of course it elongates all the way to the gearbox console, which is, it's a small one. It's Tiptronic, and as you can see here, this particular gearbox is an automatic Tiptronic function, and nothing too fancy, but it works extremely well. Quite peppy to enhance the power delivery of the 88 kilowatt engine that we're going to test out later. And of course, it is just, the way they've designed it and packaged it, it's very, very modern, chic and stylish. Of course, the chrome bits on top and on the side, again, giving this car that, yes, you're right, je ne sais quoi. Now let's move to the instrument binnacle. Now, what Peugeot have done is to create a floating style of instrument binnacle that basically is on top of the dashboard rather than being infused inside the dashboard, again creating an illusion of space, and obviously just making it different from what you probably find in a Toyota Vitz or a Honda Fit. Now basically it's still the same old traditional instrument binnacle. On the left hand side you do have the tachometer, right hand side the speedometer, and at the extreme end you have the temperature gauge, and of course the fuel gauge, which is important. And in between you have a monochrome display that gives you all the vital aspects in as far as what's happening in the engine. So from engine speed, fuel consumption, odometer, when your service is due, if there's any door, if there's any check engine or check error, to be able to display that unit as you're driving, so that you're able to be very comfortable when you're driving this Peugeot 208. You know exactly what is happening with the engine or the surrounding of this particular Peugeot. So what Peugeot have done again, just to package this whole dashboard and the binnacle, is to just add some kind of black finish that extends all the way to the instrument binnacle, and of course coming all the way to the steering wheel, which I love. So it's a 3-spoke steering wheel as well, again with satellite buttons. So on the left you have everything that controls the audio system, so volume, source, you can actually switch from radio to USB to Bluetooth without removing your hands off the wheel. And of course, on the right hand side, you have cruise control that comes as standard in this particular Peugeot 208. Wow. And to top it up, again, you have paddle shifters. So when you're feeling sporty and aggressive and you want to accelerate and feel the power of the Peugeot 1.6 liter engine, again, you're able to select the gears, downshift or upshift quite easily using these paddle shifters. Again, Peugeot are very keen when it comes to attention to detail. They've actually lined this with stainless steel trim on the paddle shifter just to give this car again the je ne sais quoi that we keep on talking about. Now let's move to the seats. Now as you can see, Big Boy is quite comfortable. I'm 6'1". I'm very comfortable, plenty of head and leg room. As you can see, the seats are very adjustable depending on your preference. You can actually adjust the steering wheel depending on your height, so tilt and telescopic. So it doesn't matter if you're tall, short, long, oblong. Again, you're able to fit this car to your taste and preference. Now the seats I love because they're actually sporty seats, and they have side bolstering to ensure that you remain in the middle of the seat. And of course, what they've done, it's got stitched leather and of course Alcantara with this pattern of design, again targeting the young modern millennial that they love. They've seen the Peugeot 504, 505, then of course now the 205s, 206, 207, and now 208. Again, it's a generation that now comprises of the younger people who Peugeot are really targeting. Now, apart from that, you can see the full length moonroof, again allowing light into the cabin, making it very airy. That is something that many designers do not know how to do, but Peugeot have incorporated this in the 208. Again, je ne sais quoi, courtesy of Peugeot. But the question still remains, how practical is the rear seating? Is there enough leg and headroom for the rear passengers? Can the seat split in case you need to carry abnormal stuff? Is the boot capable of carrying a sack of potatoes or even shopping, or even be able to lie down and carry more luggage? Let's find out as we move to the back seat of the Peugeot 208. So guys, as you can see, I'm in the back of the Peugeot 208, and I can tell you I love the space in this particular vehicle. I'm 6'1", and the legroom is just but impressive. But if you're over 6'1", as you can see, the roofline is quite low because of this moonroof. But that is not to take away the fact that Peugeot have done an amazing job packaging this 208 into a vehicle that has plenty of space for everyone. Not everyone is 6'1", but again, for any normal sized person, you actually find the back of this particular car very comfortable, very easy to use. And of course, the use of light materials on the roofline and on the sides again creates an illusion of airiness because light reflects away. So that light is encompassed within the cabin. That is something amazing, courtesy of Peugeot 208. Now, as you can see, the seats are very comfortable. We have headrests on all the three seats, and of course, because this one has a lower tunnel, you can actually sit three people. Average size people, when with me it's going to be only two. But again, it shows that Peugeot were thinking of three people sitting on this particular area. Now, headrest also helps in prevention of whiplash in case of an accident. And of course, you do have isofix anchors. So basically, you can actually put your child seat and lock them inside here. So you can see this isofix part here. So it's just right here. So you click in the child seat and your child will be able to be very safe in the Peugeot 208. Remember, the back seat is the best place for any child from 0 to 12 years. So maximum protection from an impact, the seat should be right here. And remember always to wear your safety belt. Now, as you can see, the seats actually split 60-40, but this being a French car, the 40s on the right hand side, the 60s on the left hand side. So I'm going to move to the back and have a look at the tail split of this particular vehicle, how the seats split and how you're able to carry oblong stuff. Can you be able to carry large suitcases or agunia as you go to Naivasha and back? Let's find out as we go to the boot and see what capacity it has. So guys, let's take a look at the boot space of this particular Peugeot 208 and just want to see how practical it is. So we're going to open it with this soft touch functionality just to reveal 360 cubic centimeters of space, enough to carry about two suitcases that are large in capacity, that actually carry some groceries. Actually, a sack of potatoes can actually fit in this particular vehicle. And of course, you do have tie-down hooks to ensure that your goods are firmly secured on the floor. Well, of course, as you can see, the boot lip is slightly higher up, so removing such cargo would be a bit difficult, but nothing too extreme for the Peugeot 208. But in case you have more luggage, again, you're able to put on the rear seats again 60-40 split to carry some that's more bigger. So skis, but in Kenya probably a fridge or wardrobe would probably fit inside. Now, to protect your goods from prying eyes, you actually have this rear shelf cover that protects people from having a look at what you're carrying, and of course adds this car some journey support at the back. You're able to put your soft tissues at the back or stuff, a teddy bear, whatever it is that tickles your fancy, and that's the whole point of having a stylish vehicle for the young modern person. So that's it. We've seen how practical the cabin is, we've seen how spacious, the quality, the build materials of this particular PEUGEOT 208. It is able to fit in your lifestyle quite easily, but the question still remains, how peppy is the engine? Is it good on fuel? How much will it cost you to service this particular car? We're going to jump in and find out the power of this particular vehicle, and you're going to see the value for money of this particular PEUGEOT 208. So guys, you've seen what the PEUGEOT 208 is about. It's all about style, je ne sais quoi, and of course practicality. This is a hatchback that can fit in your lifestyle, and it's, remember, it's targeted at the younger generation. So plenty to look out for. Now, in terms of power and performance, that's where I love, because I'm able to tell the character of the vehicle. So now, in terms of performance and drivability, this particular vehicle is based on Peugeot's modular platform. Basically, find this in the 308 and the 508, and of course the crossovers, the 3008 and the 5008. So it's really scalable to measure the size and preference of the particular model. So that makes it one of the best handling hatchbacks in the business. But let's start with the performance. The engine, 1.6 liter petrol VTI, variable valve timing and electronic control. Basically, it allows this car to breathe better, to give more power and efficiency at the same rate. Now, it produces 122 horsepower or 88 kilowatts and 160 newton meters that are sent to the front pause. It's a lion cab pause. See what I did there? Courtesy of a 5-speed automatic transmission that allows this car to exploit the full potential and retain a fuel economy figure of 5.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is very good, especially in this age of Nairobi where there's so much traffic. Again, the gearbox Tiptronic allows you to flex the muscle of that 88 kilowatt engine, and of course just gives you that amount of power and response that you so desire. Now, quietness and the ride handling, it's important to understand that this particular vehicle has been fitted with a lot of sound deadening devices to prevent sound from intruding into the cabin. So the transmission tunnel, the firewall, all have been lined up with that sound deadening material to make sure the cabin is very quiet. So you don't hear the engine noises and things. Sorry, at the back we're carrying some stuff to understand that's just noise. Anyway, that's said and done. It's important for you to understand that sound deadening equipment make sure that this car has a pleasant ride in your everyday driving, slow, normal driving. Now, as far as suspension is concerned, up front you do have McPherson struts. At the back you do have independent suspension that keeps this car planted, number one, and keeps this car stable. It doesn't feel like it's too stiff, that it feel too soft. It's just in between. That's what you need when you're driving a good hatchback. So it gives you some good level of comfort and reassurance when you're going fast or zipping around town. Now, safety is a critical aspect of this category. You do have a mix of active and safety features in this particular vehicle to ensure that everybody remains safe. So active safety components include electronic stability control, which is the umbrella that controls ABS, which is brake anti-lock braking system, prevents wheel locking, brake assist, which helps you to boost brake pressure during an emergency, and of course EBD. But in case all hell breaks loose, then you can rely on the 6 airbags that comes in standard, and of course a 5-star passenger rating, cell rating, which basically the structure, the rigidity of the structure is measured, that it dissipates impact energy away from the cabin to ensure that you and your family remain safe while in the PEUGEOT 208, which is very critical in this day and era. That's so important. But the question still remains, value for money. How much will this car cost you over the long term? How much is insurance? How much does this car consume over a month? Does it make sense to you? You'd rather pick a Yaris or a Honda Fit or a Mazda Demio? Let's do value for money. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So today on Cars with Big Boy Trev, it's all about the numbers, trying to help you decipher if the PEUGEOT 208 makes economic sense to you. We're going to start with the cost price. How much does this car cost on the road? Well, this particular unit costs 950,000 Kenya shillings. If you look at the rivals, the Toyota Vitz, the Honda Fit, or the Mazda Demio, they all range within the 900 to 1 million mark. So it's right in between that particular category. So that's just the cost price. But the whole aspect is to find out how much it costs to maintain this particular PEUGEOT 208. So where do you even maintain a Peugeot 208. I did the math for you. I went to Eurasia, who are the local dealers of Peugeot, and they gave me the figures of how to maintain this Peugeot 208. So they have 3 types of services. So the first service is called the minor service. It's basically change of oil, the air filter, and the pollen filter. So basically it costs 13,000 bob, which is roughly the amount of money you'd spend in an independent workshop or a mechanic. Now, the second one is the second minor service, which basically does 10,000 kilometers. 10,000 kilometers is roughly about 3 to 6 months, and of course it has all the same aspects as the first one, but the type of oil is different. It's a higher grade of oil, so basically it will last roughly between 4 to 6 months depending on usage of your particular Peugeot. But the yearly service which everybody goes, it's roughly about 25,000 bob, and it involves change of spark plugs, oil filter, fuel filter, and of course they give you a mechanical inspection report of the defective parts of the car, and then even give you a quote of what needs to be replaced at a certain interval. So again, giving you peace of mind as far as planning for your vehicle is concerned. Now, brake pads, wearables, very important. So because this car has all discs all around, then the front disc cost 8,000 bob, the rear ones, which are slightly more expensive, 9,000 bob per set. Again, not too bad. It's right within what you probably get in a used dealership or probably an independent supplier. Again, if you're looking to maintain your car properly, then I think the local dealer makes just sense, in my view. Now, that's just the cost aspect of this particular car. What about the daily running of this particular vehicle? Now, let's start with fuel consumption. Now, fuel consumption in this particular vehicle, it does on average 5.7 liters per 100 kilometers, and this is dependent on so many factors, including load, where you are, what you're carrying, and etc. Now, 5.7 liters per 100 kilometers, let's decipher this. On a full tank in this particular vehicle, the tank is 50 liters. With that rate of fuel consumption, it's going to take you exactly 877 kilometers, from start to finish. So basically, you're looking at going from Nairobi to Mombasa and back to Mtito on a single tank. In the cityscape perspective, somebody does roughly about 30 kilometers if you live within the city confines, not diaspora. Rongai, my peoples, I'm not saying that, just city diaspora, the city confines. Basically, that fuel should probably take you roughly 29 days. But because of the traffic jam, you haven't factored in that, it will probably take you about 3 weeks on a single full tank. And right now, fuel is at 115 bob at the time we are speaking this. So roughly, it's going to cost you about 5,700 bob filling up this particular vehicle. So as far as fuel consumption is concerned in your pocket, again, it just makes sense. It's very fuel efficient, as you can see. Now, insurance. Sometimes we can't avoid accidents. So this particular vehicle at the cost price. So insurance is calculated at 4.5% of the vehicle price. So let's assume this particular car is 950,000 bob. So if you do that math, it's probably cost you about 38,000 bob to 40,000 bob for a comprehensive cover, which takes care of all issues. But if you're doing third party, it's going to cost you 7,500 bob right here in Kenya. Now, with all that math analysis, do you reckon the Peugeot 208 is a car for you? Send us your thoughts as seen on the social media handles below. We'll get back to you with the feedback next week. Well, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. If you have any questions, comments, or queries, do not hesitate to write to us as seen on the social media handles below. But before I go, how do you catch Cars with Big Boy Trev after the show? Well, immediately after this particular show, we go live on YouTube at 7 p.m. So you can catch this particular episode on YouTube, and of course, all our great content. We're now venturing into also, great imports of used cars. So we have plenty of reviews, over 90 reviews and counting, 7 seasons. We've been doing this for some time, and we continue to give you all that information that you so desire to help you make that wise decision. This is Big Boy Trev signing out. Be safe and drive safe.